This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
You all ready for this?
This is a sham.
No. Y'all, just stop.
Get real.
Welcome to DBL. You got a full house here with my favorite people in the world, other than my mom and my dad and my husband.
So not your favorite.
So no. All right. M&Ms. It's all the rage. Everyone's talking about it. How did you feel? Did the melt in your mouth, not in your hands candy go too far trying to be inclusive? That's what we're asking today after a lot of folks on the right got upset with the company revamped some of their cartoon spokes candies. I didn't know that's a word, including Fox News' Tucker Carlson, who repeatedly claimed they were, quote, too woke. Well, now the company is changing course. And last night, Tucker took the opportunity to celebrate canceling the spokes candies. Take a look.
So in its ad campaigns, Mars set about making its M&M characters as unattractive as possible because when you're intentionally repulsive, it's clear you've got the right politics. So the green M&M lost her sexy boots, the brown M&M her stiletto heels. The orange M&M, meanwhile, became a poster boy for the mental health crisis and would henceforth, quote, acknowledge and embrace his anxiety because America badly needs more neurotic candy. Then late last year, Mars went further. The company added obese and distinctly frumpy lesbian M&Ms to promote, quote, feminism and body positivity.
Okay. In a statement, the company said they have decided to take an indefinite pause from the spokes candies, and they introduced a new spokesperson they say America can all agree on, the beloved Maya Rudolph. Wow. DBL Nation, we want to know what you think of all of this. Did M&M's candy mascots get too woke? Yes or no? I can't believe I said the sentence. Go to dblvote.com to weigh in. Spokes candies, we're there now.
Yeah.
We're talking about it. A couple tweets. Tony says, let's take the candy out of this. Your advertising was based on supporting women. You are now backing down because a conservative talk show host didn't like supporting women. See, if you take the candy out of it, it's a pretty crappy thing you did. This person, though, says, I'm sick of the leftist agenda. Go woke, you're going to go broke. Does anyone want to jump in?
I will. I think we missed the mark with this advertising campaign. I don't think we understand what this is about. The orange M&M has anxiety.
Don't break it down.
Because he's about to get eaten. That's the entire part of his thing. He doesn't want to get. The whole thing is they're about to get eaten. And so this is how each one of these M&Ms, Erica, look at me, deals with death. The one is trying to be sexy, like, hey, we're going to party like Golden Girls. We're just going to have fun before we get eaten. The orange one has anxiety. One has on sneakers. Let's go shoot some hoops. The idea that they're making this about a cultural statement and body inclusivity is, it just shows me in a weird way, maybe this is a moment to celebrate because we're out of things to argue about. Because if you heard a couple...
Apparently not.
If you heard a couple arguing like this at a party, Jeff, you and Jordan, you guys would be in the car riding home like, they need to break up. Like, if you're down to M&Ms, like, you guys, there's something else going on there. This is very strange.
It's broken people from reality.
Right.
I mean, don't people have jobs anymore or dreams? How did we get here? I don't even know what they're talking about. When we're in the morning meeting, I'm like, what are you talking about? Who watches TV, let alone the commercials, and gets offended? We are running out of things to get offended by. Right. It's ridiculous.
Right.
Like, what's happening?
I just want to know when M&Ms became political. Like, can somebody, that's what I need the breakdown on. Like, how is this a political stance?
Yeah, can we bring up some of the pictures of the M&Ms here?
I'm very confused by that part alone. Secondly, I think it's very clever, but it's an interesting play on the idea of everything that this person wants to say that they're allowed to say because we're talking about candy, which aren't people, but apparently they're representing people, so you can say what you really want to say about certain people because you're referring to it with the candy. And also, I mean, so what if it is representing people? Anxiety and eating M&Ms don't go hand in hand? Like, the idea that this is not necessarily a food or a source of nutrition that is going to make you more healthy or more svelte, if you will, is crazy to people. Like, we didn't know that. There's just a lot going on here that makes me feel like our days on this earth are very much numbered.
I know.
I can't believe you talked that long on this subject. I'm like fascinated by that. Good for you're a true professional. I just like going. I was like, dude, what is happening here? Let's go back to that first picture of the M&M because this is somebody's job, right? This is how I'm like, how do people get in these positions? Whatever, this camera, that camera, it doesn't matter. Put the M&M up. The first picture, someone's like, let's lower his heel or her heel, whatever it is now.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, no, like an inch, and someone's like, there was 20 people sitting around a boardroom in New York City on the 120th floor, and they're like, you want to lower it a half an inch? Good job, Thomas.
But actually, I think we should go back to that green, the green M&M that you referred to. The difference in the shoes. Couldn't that just be?
No, the other one. But
this one, this here. Right. Couldn't that just be a difference in the seasons of fashion
or daytime, nighttime?
I mean, yeah, I certainly wear more sneakers or flats, if you will, now than I did 6 months ago.
I think they were feeling, and I'll be honest with you, I'm not saying this, but the right or some people were saying, oh, flat shoes. She was friendly with another M&M. Perhaps they were lesbians in that sense. I'm not even joking.
Well, no.
Are they saying lesbians
I mean,
wear flats?
it's very fair because anytime I put on gym shoes, I'm automatically 100% more attracted to jewelry.
I can't stop with Erica when I put on sneakers. I
can't stop.
I can't. And here's my thing, guys. Gavin Newsom was interrupted while giving a talk about the shooting in Monterey because there was another shooting in Half Moon Bay in California. And we're talking about this.
Right.
We are a joke.
Yeah.
But that's why we're talking about this.
It's a distraction.
It's always like, look over here at the M&Ms because this is what's really affecting you, your children, and our country.
Embarrassing.
So look over here, people.
Erica, I know we got to run. What Sam said to me, and I can't stop thinking about it yesterday. Sam turned to me right before we left to a commercial break, and she said, we have so many mass shootings that we don't even cover them anymore. Mm-hmm. This is what we're leading with instead of mass shootings. And it's not our producers. Our producers put they lick the finger and see which way the wind's blowing. And the public is done with mass. If our audience wanted to hear about it, that would be the lead story. But this is what Tucker Carlson's talking about. So therefore, that's what everybody else is talking about. So I don't know how many people died in the last one. Was it 7 shot and 1 killed?
10 killed.
And no, I'm talking about 7. The first one.
Yes, yeah.
We're talking about the last 48 hours. So you're going to be confused because dozens of people have lost their lives and dozens of families have been forever destroyed. But what were you saying about the flats on the M&Ms?
Right, exactly.
What color green means you're a lesbian?
Right.
This is what happens when a republic starts to come apart and can no longer discuss things with each other.
That's it.
We start arguing about Skittles or whatever this nonsense is.
Exactly. I know we got to run too, but when I say this is a slippery slope, this is where you end up trying to correct everything from 100 years ago to right now, and you're like, we got to correct these M&Ms. It's like,
especially for Tucker Carlson, who is against cancel culture in the first place, which is very interesting. Let's go to the vote. We have yes, 27% of you say they got too woke. No, 73% of you say they didn't get too woke. Interesting. Coming up on DBL. I didn't understand that question either. We're discussing some taboo topics. I really didn't. That don't get talked about enough with a women's health expert. And the Oscar noms are out. Did your favorite films get a nod? Stay tuned. Now. It's a new year, and DBL is all the talk.
Let's get it going.
We had a lot to talk about last year.
I'm flexing every day.
And we're not stopping in 2023.
I'll see you guys on the flip side.
Okay, so, Jeff, you just said something very important.
Well, I said a better conversation would be what's our favorite M&M, right? Because there's so many different flavors. There's the winter one that's kind of like
I see what you're saying.
There's like the peppermint patty one, which I love those. But I'm just saying, let's go to the classics. Because now I bought my kids a bag. It's regular M&Ms, the peanut butter M&Ms, and then the peanut M&Ms.
I like the peanut butter ones.
Peanut butter M&Ms.
They're kind of they're bigger because they're the candy shell. Then there's peanut butter, and then there's the peanut. So there's there's layers to this game, homie. Like there's a
straight regular,
straight up regular or mini regular only.
Wow. Oh, there's caramel ones.
The caramel ones are amazing. I'm a peanut butter.
And my teeth are too weak for
Wait,
there's one that no one talks about. There's one where the M&M inside has little holes in it, so they're like M&M light. Gushers? No, they're just light. So so when you eat it, it tastes like you're almost eating like a thin dinner mint. It doesn't taste like that hard, solid chocolate. It's my
Wait, what are you
favorite
talking
one.
about?
There's an M&M. I will find it for the next commercial break. It's got like, have you seen
Mint
those?
in it?
I think the bag is like light blue, and it's almost like if you took an M&M, took the shell off, and then poked it with a pin. So it's like a lot of holes, so it's like airy.
Hey, Kelly,
it's really.
will you Google how many
more
different
like
types
a
of
Reese's
M&Ms?
Kind of
Reese's
like a Whopper, but
person.
it's easy to chew.
I don't know why I don't like
How many, if you had to guess, Kelly's on,
almost like it's
how
got
many
a little
different
cream.
M&Ms do you think there are? Al, how many different kinds of M&Ms
I'll
do you
say
think there are?
50. Al.
I was gonna say,
Oh, dude, let us guess.
Oh, my bad. My bad, y'all.
Well, that was ruined.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like
Bounds.
Anyway,
that's perfect. I would
okay.
really?
Yeah. If you guys want to
like
have
mouse?
No.
Is that what the company?
This thing is so heavy. I'm just kidding. Welcome back. One day. Oscar nominations are out, and we're breaking down the biggest snubs and surprises. Michelle Yeoh made history for being the first Asian Best Actress nominee. Her movie Everything, Everywhere, All at Once led the pack with 11 nominations. It's one of my favorite films ever. Angela Bassett also made history, becoming the first Marvel actor to score an Oscar nod. She's up for Best Supporting Actress in Wakanda Forever. No surprise here, Brendan Fraser and Kiwi Kwan, excuse me, both got nominated, but some were surprised that Ana de Armas was nominated for playing Marilyn Monroe in Blonde. Blockbuster sequel scored some Oscar love. Top Gun Maverick is up for Best Picture. Star Tom Cruise, though, was left off the Best Actor list, but he is a producer on the film, so he's still up for getting an Oscar. Avatar, my favorite, Way of the Water, is also up for Best Picture, but James Cameron did not get nominated for Best Director.
Why would you when your movie grosses $2 billion?
Yeah.
Make 3 or don't call me.
No surprise here. Will Smith and his movie Emancipation were left off the Oscar list completely. He has been banned, as we know, from attending the ceremony for 10 years after slapping Chris Rock at last year's event. All right, let's talk some surprising. Was anyone like, whoa?
Yeah. I'm surprised that I felt like we just got slapped yesterday and the Oscars are already back.
I know.
That was a quick
I remember
year.
it like it was yesterday.
I felt like it happened 5 years ago.
Really?
Yeah, because we've talked about it so much.
Yeah.
I'm shocked. Tom Cruise has never won an Oscar.
Never.
Right.
And they didn't even throw him a bone. The Academy doesn't throw that man a bone for bringing movies back to the theater. That man single-handedly brought movies back to the theater after COVID.
So do you think they'll
throw
give it to
that
him?
dude a bone?
So they
okay?
give him Top Gun, maybe?
What?
Do you think they give him Top Gun for Best Picture?
No, I wouldn't even go if I were Tom Cruise. I would be pissed that I wasn't up for Best Actor. Even though, whatever, you could say whatever you want. He did bring back cinema.
Absolutely.
Okay? He definitely did. And James Cameron, you make $3 billion grossing films. You're not up for Best Actor. You've been working on, or Best Director. You've been working on this for 10 years.
There's definitely a bias with the
this is such below.
movie.
Who cares about these awards anymore?
Well, that's the thing. You can tell there's an issue between people that make film that they consider real film and people that make Marvel movies. That's why it's a big deal that we're starting to get some Marvel actors nominated. And just Jeff, you were shocked about Tom Cruise. Some other A-list stars that have never gotten an Oscar: Glenn Close, Robert Downey Jr., Larry Fishburne, Lawrence Fishburne, Amy Adams, Sam Jackson, come on, Jim Carrey, Edward Norton, Michelle Pfeiffer, Johnny Depp, Michael Keaton, and Sigourney Weaver.
Wow, there's a lot.
But we know historically blockbusters have never been up for these types of awards.
That's a good point.
You know, so
why do you think that is?
I think it's almost like because blockbusters appeal to everyone, and there's something like you said about the niche or the
that's not real film.
You know what?
I didn't say it.
I think you know why it's up. First of all, I think you're absolutely right. He carried the entertainment industry on his back single-handedly. But I think they wanted Tom Cruise at the Oscars. So the way to get him there is to put him up for Best Picture.
Would you go? Do you think he'll go? Do you think he'll go?
I think he will. I think he'll continue to carry. He represents a movie star that we don't have anymore. He's like the only one left.
Because he's a nice guy. Right. He is like a really genuine.
He's great
good guy.
with crowds.
And
He's
that's
really
why
good.
he might go.
Movie star making movies during COVID. Jeff Schroeder.
Yeah. We'll be right back. That's right.
I'm choosing not to go.
Nobody wants to pay more in taxes than they have to. That's also the case with the act of filing your taxes. Many companies say they offer free filings, only to later charge a fee. Some social media users complain they hide the completely free options. So let's verify. Can you file your federal income taxes for free? Our sources are the Free File Alliance, the Internal Revenue Service, AARP, and Cash App. The short answer is yes, but how easy that is depends on your income and some other factors. If your household has an adjusted gross income of less than $73,000, then you have the most options when it comes to filing for free. The easiest way is through a partnership between the IRS and the Free File Alliance, a nonprofit coalition of tax software companies that offer their prep services free of charge to eligible Americans. What if your household earns more than $73,000? If you're a senior, then AARP and the IRS have programs to help, regardless of your income. There's also Cash App Taxes, which allows almost everyone to use their software for free. Everyone can also e-file their federal taxes for free through the IRS's website, but you'll have to do most of the calculations yourself. Instead, the IRS offers fillable forms that only do basic math calculations. So, it's true. Most people can file their federal taxes for free, if you're willing to jump through a few hoops. Many of the Free File Alliance companies will also offer to do your state taxes for free if you also file your federal taxes with them, as will Cash App Taxes. Otherwise, many states have free fillable electronic forms, just like the IRS. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
Welcome back to DBL. Our next guest is an OBGYN and women's health expert, here to shed some light on some of the taboo topics we never say out loud, but we actually need to talk about. Earlier, we spoke with the Chief Medical Officer of Very Well Health, my girl, Dr. Jessica Shepard. Take a look.
Please welcome to the show, Dr. Jessica Shepard.
Yeah. So, Doc, let me kick things off here. My wife shares too much, in my opinion. But I'm curious, what are some things women are hesitant to bring up to you?
I think anything that is below the belt is really where we are starting to see some of the conversation not wanting to be expressed verbally, but we all know in their heads that these are the questions that they're thinking of. And that usually has to do with anything such as libido or dryness and anything that can cause issues with the pelvic region during menopause.
That's really smart, below the belt. You gotta open up about that. Now, what are some telltale signs that our hormones could be out of whack? Because I feel like I use it a little bit as an excuse. Oh, my hormones. I don't know what I'm saying.
You use that as an excuse for everything. You're like, it's my hormones. Yeah. Now, I do think that women are actually quite confused about what menopause is and when it starts. So I typically start to see these, what you said, our hormones out of whack, or when they start to change as early as our 40s. And that's what's perimenopause. And so these changes come, I like to say, like a dimmer light. They're here, they're there. I don't know if I felt it. And then they get to their 50s and it's a little bit more prominent. So those things would be hot sweats, night flash, sleep quality. So not necessarily fall asleep where you might wake up. It's all of it collectively. And then also just really the irritability. So that's where a lot of people like to point fingers at perimenopause and menopause is the irritability, but it really has been shown in literature how that starts to change some of our mood.
Wow, I'm definitely in perimenopause then.
Wow,
yeah,
really?
I think I am.
Oh, wow.
Well, I get irritated quite a bit.
So do I.
Hey, wait a minute, so does Jeff.
Yeah.
Okay, but let me ask you this. Over half of all women report having a lower sex drive by age 50. What causes this, and is this something you can just talk yourself out of? What would your advice be?
I think that there are two ways to look at that, two different buckets. Now, there's the physiologic part, which is what happens during menopause. And those are because of shifts with our decline in estrogen, testosterone. Women have testosterone. And when that starts to decline, that, again, changes our libido. But we also have the mental, emotional aspect of libido and how we think about it, and if we even think about it. So it really takes two different varieties of how you're going to look at that. Saying, hey, doc, I I think that as menopause, I'm starting to see shifts with my hormones, which can be dealt with from a medical, clinical standpoint, but also tuning into it from the mental, emotional aspect of, I may not have that drive anymore, but what are some things that I can do with how I view intimacy and leaning into that a little bit more? It takes a little bit more work from that as well.
Get your groove back. Hey, sis, how you doing?
So good.
I love Dr. Shepherd, y'all. Okay, she is a baddie. Okay, so another thing that women often deal with as they get older are bladder leaks. So what can women do to prepare for bladder leaks before they become a regular thing, and how can we deal with them when they do?
I think is not waiting until it gets so severe and detrimental, then it does become a little bit harder to deal with, which usually might have to do with some type of surgery or procedure to repair that. So even if you start to what we call stress urinary incontinence, sneeze, laugh, cough, exercise, and you may have occasional leaks of urine, is to bring that up to your doctor, because that's where it might be starting to happen. And there are things that we can do early on that may prevent or help, not decline as rapidly. And those are the things that we can do with pelvic physical therapists. Pelvic physical therapists are just like if you injure your shoulder, you go to a physical therapist to help you with the muscles. The muscles of the pelvis and the bladder are the same way, and working with a physical therapist can really help with that. And then there are some medications that can help decrease the amount of leakage that we have. But I also think that how we carry ourselves and work out and work on exercise and the diet that we eat that can be irritants to bladder as well are all the things that we can do in our lifestyle that can help that.
Thank you so much. This was so informative. DBL Nation, go to verywellhealth.com to learn about all these topics and much more. Dr. Shepherd, we appreciate you.
Thanks, Doc.
Excellent.
We'll be right back. Thank you.
If you feel a cold coming on, you might take vitamin C supplements like this one to try to keep your symptoms at bay. But a recent tweet sparked conversation online about how effective vitamin C supplements really are. So let's verify. Does taking vitamin C supplements at the first sign of illness help fight a cold? Our sources are Harvard Health, a study published in Cochrane Library, and registered dietitian Mary Eve Brown. U.S. health officials recommend men get 90 milligrams of vitamin C daily, and women get 75 milligrams. That's less than 1 cup of orange juice. Many supplements on the market have dosages closer to 1,000 milligrams, more than 10 times the recommended daily value. And while that amount generally isn't harmful, does it actually help? Verify looked at the results of a Cochrane Library study of 11,000 people published in 2013 that analyzed the impact of taking high doses of vitamin C after feeling sick. The data showed no consistent effect on the duration or severity of common cold symptoms. The researchers also found that taking the supplements regularly, as opposed to when symptoms first start, didn't prevent colds, but they did reduce the duration of a cold by about 10%. Even so, registered dietitian Mary Eve Brown told Verify that high doses seen in supplements aren't necessary for most people.
Just eat your fruits and vegetables. You're going to get enough vitamin C.
So we can verify, no. Taking vitamin C supplements at the first sign of illness won't help fight a cold. With your Verify, I'm Ariane Till.
Classified documents from Joe Biden's time as vice president have been found in his Delaware home and an old office in D.C. Former President Trump is also under investigation for taking classified documents home with him, though he has since claimed he declassified them. Critics of President Biden say that's not a defense he can use here because a vice president can't declassify information. Verify viewer Ray wanted to know if that's true, so Ray, let's verify.
There is absolutely zero truth to that claim.
In 2009, President Obama signed an executive order that specifies who's allowed to classify and declassify stuff. It explicitly gives the president and vice president the authority to classify any document. And when it comes to declassifying, it identifies 4 kinds of people who have that authority. The person who originally classified it, their successor, their boss, or a delegate assigned by the head of their agency. In other words, if the VP originally classified a document, the order gives them explicit authority to declassify it. As for documents originally classified by someone else, the president and vice president oversee all executive branch agencies, so they count as a boss here and therefore have the authority to declassify.
It's been a long-standing practice in the executive branch to say that the vice president has delegated authority from the president and should be treated as pretty much the same. So anything the president can declassify, the vice president can declassify.
The only exceptions are certain information dealing with nuclear secrets, which are governed by a separate law, and any instance where the president explicitly forbids the VP from declassifying a piece of information, meaning we can verify, yes, the vice president can declassify information. But it's worth noting, unlike Trump, Biden has so far not claimed that he declassified the documents found in his home. With your Verify, I'm Casey Decker.
Welcome back. Check out these amazing products from our friends at MorningSave. Steph, what do you have for us today?
Hello, Tori, and hey, DBL Nation. We are so excited to show you all the deals today. First up, we've got the MKF collection by Mia K. Salome Large Expandable Crossbody. So this deal includes one bag that's available in 20 colors, Tori. Normally, these sell for $209. We've got it for $29.99. So that's saving everyone 86%.
I love the vegan leather, and I actually love those colors.
Now, our next product, this is super cool. This is the 2-pack Parsecs wireless LED glow lantern Bluetooth speakers. These have 10 different lighting options and last up to 4 hours per charge.
That's cool.
So these are normally $100.
Yeah, I can see that.
But we've got 2 for $39.99, which is saving you guys 60%.
That lights me up inside just like the lantern.
Up next, we've got the 24-pack Gemella in France moisturizing sheet masks. So this deal includes 24 masks to help you get clear, glowy, and natural looking skin. Normally, these are $96, but we have got these 24 masks for just $15.99, which is saving 83%.
Oh, this is fantastic.
I love it, and
Good
I love
price.
the pamper session, so
Me too.
I'm sold.
Pamper session on.
Now, last but certainly not least, it's the 3-pack Acerie Premium Knit Beanies. So this deal includes 3 beanies available in 3 color sets, and you can also choose a set with or without pom-poms, like you see here. So normally this is just $60, but for 3,
right, like not bad. Right.
$14.99. So that's saving 75%.
Let's tip our pom-pom to that savings. Head on over, everyone, to morningsave.com to snag these amazing deals at the lowest prices, or you can scan that QR code. It's right on screen, and it will take you directly to these products on MorningSave's website. Again, Steph, thank you so much. Great prices. Great prices, great products. I do want to recommend Everything Everywhere All at Once. It's my favorite movie of the year, and if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it.
I was just focused on those beanies.
Those beanies are cute,
You
too.
don't need my beanies. I like them.
Yeah. Good talk, guys. We'll see you same time, same place tomorrow.